What is going on, everybody, and welcome back once again. My name is Jordan, also known as J Monster, and this week I have a historical battle for you that is a little bit different in terms of subject matter from what we usually cover. This week's historical battle is drawn from the Warcraft franchise. It is the second siege of Stormwind City by the Orcish Horde during the First Great War between orcs and humans. I hope you guys enjoy it. Prior to the outbreak of the First War, the Kingdom of Stormwind, the southernmost realm of the Eastern Kingdoms, was a prosperous, idyllic nation, whose humans cohabitated peacefully with their sister kingdom Lordaeron and their dwarven and elven neighbors to the north. Protected by the might of King Lane's well-trained armies, Stormwind feared no enemy, without or within. Sadly, such a peace was never destined to last. The Guardian Medivh, most powerful of all human spellcasters, was losing his battle to the essence of Sargeras, the otherworldly Dark Titan who had invaded his body after his mother Egwene, the fiery previous Guardian, had thrown down the Dark Titan's avatar. Egwene had always been headstrong, and instead of returning her power to the Council of Tirisfal when it was time for her to step down, she sought out worthy mages to help her create a dynasty. Medivh was the product of her union with Nelis Aran, the court conjurer of Stormwind. Egwene's arrogance would have consequences that would percolate throughout Azeroth's history, forever altering its destiny. We will confine ourselves for today to the more immediate effects her choices will have on the Eastern Kingdoms, and in particular, the Kingdom of Stormwind. Under the influence of Sargeras, Medivh would make contact with the orc warlock Gul'dan at his Shadow Council on the orcish homeworld of Draenor, and together the two would conspire to bring the demon-corrupted orcish horde into Azeroth, to conquer it in the name of Sargeras and his host of demons, the Burning Legion. Inside of a dreary, swampy marshland known as the Black Morass, but now as the Blasted Lands, Medivh would open what would be known as the Dark Portal, and in doing so, would usher in an era of bloodshed and horror for an entire generation of humans. In the opening stages of the First War, the orcs met with easy, early successes, sacking unprepared towns and villages throughout the countryside. Thinking that the conquest of the Kingdom of Stormwind would be a swift, simple affair, the ruling body of the Horde, puppets of the warlock Gul'dan known as the Shadow Council, ordered a massive attack against Stormwind City. The human footmen were unprepared for the assault, and though they held their ground with fierce determination, courage, and discipline, they were nonetheless losing ground to the savage orc grunts. The city was saved thanks to the timely return of Stormwind's powerful mounted knights. The orcs, having never fought against these mounted warriors before, and their powerful war horses, were quickly routed, and the city made safe for a time. The First War, however, was far from over, and in time, the kingdom would lose nearly all of its holdings in the face of the orcish onslaught. Finally, the day of destiny was at hand. The orcish horde under Orgrim Doomhammer, the newly crowned warchief, gathered like buzzards to carrion outside the gates of Stormwind. Catapults flung fiery payloads over the battlements, orc grunts roared with bloody expectation, and the battle to determine the fate of the human kingdom began in earnest. The Shadow Council knew that the men of Stormwind worshipped their sovereign King Lane, and would fight to the bitter end so long as he was alive. While the battle raged outside on the walls, the Shadow Council activated their sleeper agent, Garona Halfworkin, to murder Lane while he was vulnerable. She snapped out of her magically induced trance just in time to see the light leave his eyes. Heartbroken over the loss of her trusted friend, and disgusted with herself for having been the pawn of the warlocks, she fled in the face of the vengeful palace guard. Unfortunately for the Kingdom of Stormwind, the damage had already been done. Leaderless, the armies of Stormwind crumbled, and Stormwind Keep fell before the might of the orcish horde, the kingdom reduced to ashes. What few survivors remained were forced to flee northward to the Kingdom of Lordaeron, the last remaining bastion of human power on Azeroth. And that's the end of the exposition. We're going to move on now to the actual battle, which we'll be fighting in real time. Outnumbered is the Empire against two powerful armies of orcs. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, as the orcish horde here approaches our lines and our bowmen begin to open fire, we're going to take a moment here to slow down the battle and look at some of the unit choices that we've made for this battle and the disposition of our forces as well. So naturally we have human footmen here, heavily armored warriors that fight on the front lines with sword and board. Very iconic unit, no human army would be complete without them. In the back, I'm holding these guys in reserve because, well, they're cavalry, they don't exactly do great on the front lines in a city fight. They need to be able to move around. We have the iconic Knights of Stormwind, who I spoke about earlier. These powerful mounted warriors are going to make a serious difference in this battle. Up on the walls, we've got some more human footmen who are armed with crossbows. Not exactly a weapon you see very often in the Warcraft franchise, but they are being included nonetheless. Oh no, we just had a horrible puncture made in our lines here. We'll have to move quickly then. We've also got some steam tanks. Now, these are conceivable because they do have good relations with the Dwarven mountain kingdoms, and they do have access to powerful siege weapons, namely siege tanks. They exist in that universe as well, so I decided to include them because why not? Just a little bit of flavor. Up here on the walls, we have Paladins. Oh, let me see. Just find one here. Hopefully none of them have died already. Yes, right here, the warrior priests are standing in for the Knights of the Silver Hand. Powerful warriors that fight on the front lines with faith and sword, and particularly a hammer, which the warrior priests also use as well. There's a lot of overlap between the Warhammer and the Warcraft franchises. We've also got Karl Franz here up on his griffin. We're going to say that this is King Lane because why the hell not? I wanted him to fight at this battle. It's a nice little what-if situation. Even though, as I said, he was killed before he was able to make a significant difference. The final thing I want to show you is that we have a couple of mages here well positioned to throw their spells rather down into the fray once the Orcish horde breaks through the gate. We got a fire mage, and this is an elven cleric as he has access to so many healing spells through the green lore of life. And that's about it. Let's go ahead and let's get the battle started here. Let's take a look at the Orcish forces. You can see these orc grunts here with their distinctive spiked shoulder pads, ready for some carnage. Many of them decked out in red, as you would expect from the Orcish horde. And they are just starting to get to our lines here on the wall. And things are going to go very poorly for these crossbowmen. Luckily, we've got some great swords here in reserve. We're going to use them to try and push these Orcish invaders back off the walls. So now might be a good time to commit them to the fight. Throw them into the battle. Let's see how we're doing over here. Not so great. We've got some crossbowmen here who managed to get themselves stuck in that fight. We're going to sandwich them between two units of great swords, and we're also going to bring up this reserve unit of halberdiers. We're going to stick them right here and complete the encirclement of the Orcish forces in that particular area. So we're going to commit our great swords up there as they are starting to break through via this siege tower here on our left flank. These guys are just raining death down into these savage orc big guns. We're going to have them target those orc big guns because they are very powerful. Got some swordsmen here. It doesn't look like these are going to make it to the line, so we're actually going to draw them off the walls and throw them down here against these orcish forces here, because they are unfortunately cut off from their brothers over on this side, and honestly they don't really need the help anyway. These savage orcs here trying to climb up the ladders, make it onto the walls and push back our forces are just not going to do very well, because they're going to be very tired by the time they even get up there. Looks like the orcish forces here have managed to break through the gate. Let's watch this. Let's watch this epic charge as they come into contact with our halberdiers right here. It's just so many of them. Look at those orcish forces staring down the humans. No one really wants to get too close to that wall of halberds. So we're actually going to have them attack right now. Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and rush for our unit there on the flank, but we're going to encircle them and hit them with the full might of our halberdier shield wall. We're going to plug this gap here so they don't manage to sneak around the sides of our men, which is what they're doing right now. Things are not going very well for these orcish big guns. They are losing decisively. The orcish players really need to rush their troops forward, but they are, as you can see, they are saving the best for last. We've got some elite, heavily armored black orcs in the back here, and they are just represented by kind of the orcish elite, wielding their gigantic axes. We can consider them part of Orgrim Doomhammer's personal guard, and of course, there he is himself, the Doomhammer, using an axe instead of a hammer. You can just pretend that it's a hammer, and one of his lieutenants here, conducting the siege of this human city. So over here, you can see that the orcs are massing troops in here. They are managing to push through. It says that they are losing decisively, so we're going to throw our halberdiers in here to try and push them back. Maybe we'll be able to save the human kingdom here. Hope exists for the human warriors. Managed to funnel the orcish horde here into these very narrow choke points. So now is a good time to start committing our paladins to the battle. Over here, it looks like this guy's having a very difficult time. We're going to try and turn around our crossbows so they can help them out if possible. But unfortunately, the paladin here and the crossbows are cut off from all reinforcements, as these greatswords weren't able to get up onto the walls fast enough to push back the orc big guns before they could get down. And now combat down here is even with the 22% ward save being given to them by the paladin up on the wall. How's this guy doing over here? Over here, things are not looking great. They are managing to break our right flank, so we're going to turn the siege tank on them and see if we can't get some easy kills here. Like shooting fish in a barrel, really. But as you can see, they piled the human dead high here. They've managed to surround them on two sides, and they really just have nowhere to go. We got some swordsmen over here who are having some troubles as well, being attacked on the flank. These greatswords have their backs against the wall, so we're going to take this unit of reserve greatswords here, and we're going to try and hold off those orcish invaders from the walls for as long as possible, so that we can keep them out of the back of our halberdier line here. Looks like a few orcs have managed to get through, but they are not going to last very long against these massed human footmen right here. Now might be a pretty decent time to throw down a big heal. Gonna pop it on our halberdier line here, which seems to be failing. We're also going to give them a little bit extra weapon damage in the form of the Flaming Sword of Ruin, or the Blazing Sword of Ruin, one of those two. Flaming Sword, there you go. King Lane himself, we're going to commit him to the fight on the walls here against these black orcs. These human footmen here definitely need the support of their king. They are fighting on very bravely, but they won't be able to do it for too much longer. And if that breaks, if this line here breaks, they're going to be able to get into the back of our human defenders right here. We want to avoid that for as long as possible. There we go. Give everybody a nice little boost to their attack and defense. Another small unit of orcs have managed to break through here, but they are going to meet with the same fate as their brothers. You can just hear that orcish artillery just pounding the walls of Stormwind. Oh, bad things are starting to happen here. The greatswords are being overrun. Oh no, I didn't even notice this. The human knights have been taking heavy artillery fire, so we're going to throw them into the fight as soon as possible. Over here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit them in the rear and the side with a brutal, devastating charge from our knights here. We're going to support that with a little bit of crossbow fire. Look at that. Into the sides of these orcs. Devastating charge here on the part of these Stormwind knights, driving back the orcish invaders. You can see that just did a number on them, but unfortunately they're going to find themselves surrounded and assailed on 3 different sides here. The orcs having broke through this part of the wall. How are things doing over here? Very desperate on the walls. Things are looking very grim for the defenders of Stormwind. They are fighting their hearts out, but even their esteemed king, King Lane, can't stand up to these massed orcish elites right here. So we're actually going to pull him back so that we don't lose him immediately. It looks like our reserves here are also getting pounded by some very accurate, anomalously accurate artillery fire from the orcish artillery outside the walls. So we're gonna looks like Orgrim Doomhammer himself has joined the fray. We're going to attack him with our sovereign King Lane as well as a unit of swordsmen. We're going to commit these guys to the fray as well. We're going to pull this unit off here because we're going to actually, you know what, we're going to keep them in place, because if we do that, looks like this is going to break soon and they're going to find themselves surrounded. So there really is no hope over here for these troops. We're going to commit that siege tank to the battle, try and hold that line for as long as possible. Looks like our warrior priest here, or rather our paladin, has come back from routing. They don't seem to be doing very well at all. Looks like our fire mage has been routed off the walls. We're going to take the opportunity here to throw down another heal if possible, try and keep this line holding for as long as we can against this massive orcish onslaught here. We were doing so well in the beginning. You can see a lot of dead orc bodies there because they just ran right into the teeth of these halberds. But nonetheless, the halberds are apparently losing decisively. Oh no, looks like they're starting to break here. Orgrim Doomhammer and King Lane evenly matched, but we're going to have to pull him out of there for now and try and find some easier targets for him to prey on, because Doomhammer is a very, very scary foe. Oh no. Yeah, again, our cavalry here getting pummeled. I didn't even see it. Just trying to pay attention to everything that's going on in the infantry fight. We're going to commit them, what's left of our reserves of cavalry here, into the fight against these orcs here. But they're just pinpoint accuracy over the tops of those walls. Very nicely done on the part of those orcish artillery units. Looks like our troops at the gate here are beginning to get surrounded. They're starting to break through our reserve greatswords, and they are skirting now another unit of orcish grunts here around our lines. They're going to bring that into the town square to flank us, and we're going to have a pretty nasty surprise waiting for them. Just you wait. We're going to have our steam tank here start taking some pot shots into the sides of these orcish grunts. They see what's coming. They don't want to fight it. They're going to turn around. Oh, no, maybe they're coming back. Perhaps we're going to have the opportunity here. Boom! Look at that. We managed to take out a few of them. I think they might try and skirt around the very back. We're going to keep this in the middle so we can hold the town square. We're going to start drawing our forces back into the center here. What remains of them. Just these shattered units here falling back to the center of town to make their final stand. Oh, he's still in there. He just won't die. Oh no, King Lane. King Lane has fallen on the field of battle, died in defense of his homelands, and with that the human armies are now shaken, and they're going to start falling back. Swordsmen here not doing too bad, but soon word will reach them of the death of their king, and they're going to shatter and flee for their lives. The only one left, it seems, with the courage to fight the Orcish horde is this elven priest up here, and a unit of crossbowmen who are now depleted with their ammunition. We're going to send them into the fight here against these Orcish big guns, just try and get a few last-minute kills, slaughter as many orcs, make them pay as dearly for the destruction of the Kingdom of Stormwind as possible. But there's just so many of them pouring into the fight here, and nobody has the will to stand against them. Except for a couple Paladins here and these steam tanks, who are starting to fall. It looks like our steam tank over here and on our other flank as well has been eradicated. These human footmen here still fighting for their lives against a horde of orc boys, trying to hold back the tide, but they are going to get sandwiched in the rear by some of Orgrim Doomhammer rather's elites. Blackhand was the previous war chief, so that's why I'm confusing the two of them, and they also has black orcs in the name, so it's a little bit weird. But yeah, just the mere presence of Doomhammer's elites is enough to make that unit lose its courage and flee for its lives. The only one left to fight is this one lone steam tank. So we're going to increase the speed here a little bit and watch this final stand of the Dwarven tank crew as they try to make these orc savages pay for the destruction of the Kingdom of Stormwind, one of their close allies. See how many kills it's gotten. Not very many. A little bit underwhelming. I feel like I could have done way better. And there you have it. That is the destruction of the Kingdom of Stormwind, the fall of the city. I hope you guys enjoyed our historical battle. What's going to be coming up next? Probably going to do something a little bit different than the Total War. I think we might pick up Vampire again. Maybe Mountain Blade, we'll see about that. I do kind of want to finish off some of the ongoing series that we have right now so we can start on some new things that are going to be coming out. I would like to start doing a Subnautica playthrough, for example, because there's a whole lot going on with that game. I just got a really big update recently, so that's really exciting, and I'm really eager to get into that. But for now, you'll probably see some Vampire, and maybe some Mountain Blades, and possibly another episode of 4th Age Total War because I'm enjoying that campaign just so very much. Alright, well, that's it for me, and I'll see you guys later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye!